Joining us now, New York Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis and Florida Congressman Greg Steube. You know, Congresswoman, we've had shortages now of grocery goods, toys, computer chips, historic port congestion. How much is the White House to blame here?
Well, I think, look, right, they passed a $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan that was supposed to put people back to work, and it actually did the opposite. It actually disincentivized work and production. I think that's part of the problem that you're seeing here. There are a number of causes, but a big part of it is labor shortage, and that was a result of the president and the Democrats wanting to pay people more to stay home than to come to work and produce. And so you have lack warehouse workers, you lack truck drivers, and you're seeing a major issue here. The other thing is the supply chain, that we rely on so many other countries that we're not manufacturing here in the United States. He said he wants to build in America, but we're not seeing any steps to go in that direction. I think that's the other thing that you're seeing here, and this certainly is shedding a light on the way we are relying on China and other countries, particularly when it comes to, you know, toys. Of these toys are manufactured in China, and it just sheds light on the need to bring our supply chain back home here in America.
Well, you know, the issue in Moody's is warning about this, that this is the weakest link, Congressman. It's about common sense. The COVID-19 shutdowns across the country let go 91,000 truck drivers. They shut down truck driver training schools. Again, Moody's says this is a weak link. It's the shortage of truck drivers. They deliver the majority of goods in this country, and then you had ports in Asia and elsewhere around the world shut down by local bureaucrats because of COVID-19. That's been the common theme here. What do you say?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And Nicole's right. That's part of it. And you're paying more people to not work than to work. You're going to have those people in the supply chain not working. That coupled with the fact that you're locking down all these big cities. These big backups of all these shipping containers are in cities and ports like LA that were locked down for months. And now because for so long people could make more money not working than working, they have a hard time funding the labor for these different individuals to work in the different supply chains. And now you want to put a vaccine mandate on private companies on top of that, so people are going to not work because the companies, through the Biden administration, forcing them to have vaccine mandates on their employees. It's going to just completely exacerbate the problem. This is 100% the result of bad policies that the Democrats have put in place since Joe Biden has taken office. We are seeing the repercussions of that today.
And Congresswoman, we have inflation coming in again hotter than expected at 5.4% annualized. It's a 13-year high. The supply chain mess is ramping up prices. Gas prices are going up. And we're seeing worker wages, I think annualized basis, it's hourly. They're seeing inflation cutting into their wages 1 to 2%. What do you say?
This is why we must stop that $3.5 trillion socialist wish list. It will only put further pressure on inflation, further debt, increasing the cost of goods on every single American. They are already seeing it at the pump. They're seeing it at the supermarket. They're seeing it when they're trying to go on vacation or trying to buy supplies for their kids to go back to school. The reality is that these policies of taxing and spending are leading to critical inflation. But the other thing is the president is talking about the private sector, bringing them to the table because they are the answer. So why are they trying to put forth policies that will destroy the free market, that will destroy the private sector, that will hurt our economy and further eliminate jobs? You know, so they need to definitely look at this 3.5 and cancel it all, because it's going to be a complete disaster. If you think it's bad now, if they pass that, it will be a real atrocity.
We hear you. And Congressman, let's go, you know, the worker shortage. The Congressman just made a good point. This worker shortage as well, that's been a common theme throughout the first 10 months of the Biden era. The trucking industry is warning about worker shortages since the 80s. They're saying we need 1.1 million more truck drivers. We have 1.52 million truck drivers right now. So they're saying we need to about double it. I mean, FedEx, UPS, Walmart, Target, Home Depot, they're sending their own drivers to ports during night shifts and working longer hours. And people are asking, where is Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg throughout all this? The media is focusing on other things about Pete Buttigieg and not about his job. What do you say to that?
Well, he's not doing his job. Nobody's seen him because he's not doing his job. This is somebody who was mayor of a small town in our country who is now in charge of the entire transportation infrastructure of our country. And one of the other things that are adding and contributing to this challenge with truck drivers is the price of gasoline. Again, 100% caused by the decisions that the Biden administration has made. I just recently met with a neighbor when we were out walking dogs who was a truck driver, an independent truck driver. He's not driving his truck anymore because the cost of fuel is so much that it doesn't make sense for him to drive his semi-truck. So you're seeing all of these decisions that the Biden administration has made that is weighing down the economy, shooting up inflation, and causing this complete stalling of jobs in our country today.
And, you know, to the congressman's point, where is Pete Buttigieg? You know, Congresswoman Bloomberg asked Pete Buttigieg about all of of this last week. He weirdly warned that, quote, challenges will possibly continue for years. Why is every answer out of Washington that this will last for years and years? But then he pitched the stalled infrastructure plan as a cure-all. What's your reaction to that?
Exactly. They only want to pass the agenda. In some cases, I feel like they create some of these problems. They can try to support their agenda and create more government intervention. The reality is that 75% of the of goods across America are being transported by trucks. We do need more truck drivers, but you have, you know, AOC and the Green New Deal wanting to ban trucks. They don't want natural gas. The cost of fuel is increasing rapidly, all because of their doing. So instead of having a vision of how we were actually going to come out of this pandemic, and by the way, the answer was really just for government to get out of the way. Instead of more mandates, more restrictions, more taxes, more government intrusion, we see them looking to do more of that, government control, as opposed to getting out of the way and actually helping where they're needed, which is, like you say, getting more truck drivers to drive trucks.
Okay, Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis and Congressman Greg Steube, thank you so much for joining us. It's good to see you.